So in our another one of our parking lot
Adventures. Whoa! Jinx! You can interact with the towing company that will tow your car.
if you park illegally, which I don't know, how do you even park illegally here?
Well, before it was like if you didn't have a parking permit, which
I'm
kind
pretty.
of did away with
I
that.
don't see any of them here. Like I don't see anyone with a parking permit. I have a parking permit.
Except for him. You're the only one here that has a parking permit.
Yeah. I'm not gonna get towed.
You'll get towed for something stupid, probably. Anyway,
Yeah,
so
why don't you go interact
interact.
with the Interact Club because they're doing something that's worth talking about.
Let's go check that out.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Palisano here with the amazing Natalie Danko, who just so happens to be the president of the Interact Club. And we're going to be talking about the future of the Interact Club. So, you guys are looking for new officers, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And how can someone interested in becoming an officer become one?
Well, we have a meeting Wednesday, May 28th, after school in Miss Somar's room, room 233. Anyone who's interested in becoming an officer should show up then. All current Interact Club members should show up, and we'll vote to see who we think should become the new officer for each position.
And what positions are available currently?
We have vice president and secretary. Our current, we have a current replacement for myself, Madison Masix, for president of Interact Club.
Okay. And what are the characteristics you're looking for in a vice president and secretary?
For secretary, we're looking for someone who's very organized, the person who is always on top of things and trying to work out, very detail-oriented, they can figure out the details. Vice president, we're looking for someone who is looking at more of the big picture and helping to assist the president in trying to accomplish the projects and the services that we're having.
Okay, and who votes for these new positions? Is it the whole club or just the officers?
Well, it's the officers that are currently there, current Interact Club members, and the class sponsor and the Interact person who's in charge.
Okay, and who is the class sponsor and
Miss Somar is the class sponsor, and the person who's in charge of Interact Club in Norristown is Vanessa Kassari. She's part of the Rotary Club, which is, Interact Club is part of this Rotary Club. The Rotary Club is like the adult version of Interact Club.
And she'll be attending the meeting as
Yes,
well?
yes.
And do they have to present themselves in order to qualify, or do they just kind of say, I want it, and you guys vote for them?
We want someone to include what kind of activities they're already involved in. We don't want someone who's too spread out and someone who's doing too many sports and won't be able to go to the meetings. We want officers who are going to be there at every single meeting and who has the time that it takes to dedicate for Interact Club.
And do they have to fill out an application, or are they just going to make a quick speech at the meeting?
Not entirely sure yet, but we'll see when the meeting comes.
Yes, definitely. And what if they can't attend this meeting?
You should definitely email myself or Miss Somar to say that you're interested, and we'll present you to everyone else at the club to say this person's interested in this position, and then have you see if you get voted for that officer position or not. But I think you should definitely show up to the meeting because it's much better for you to be there to present yourself than have someone else do it for you.
Of course, yes. And why would you recommend that students join Key Club and, even more importantly, apply for these officer positions?
I think Interact Club is a service club, and if someone who's interested in community service should join, someone who's looking for to add Interact Club on their application. Colleges know Interact Club. They know it's a service club, and it's very well known, especially since it's connected to Rotary Club. So that's something that colleges look for and take into consideration. As for an officer position, I know myself, it teaches you leadership roles. It teaches you to come up with a big picture of a project or service that you want to do in the community and actually executing it. And it gives you a lot of planning skills. And I know personally, I really enjoyed dedicating my time to this club.
Were there any specific special events that really changed you, or anything that has happened in Key Club or Interact Club?
I always liked Operation Christmas Child, where you would collect little shoe boxes full of presents or like small gifts for little kids, and they would send this box that you put together, and they would send it off to a kid who wouldn't be getting anything for Christmas or for the holidays that year. Usually kids that are in like third world countries, or they're like refugees from like war and like a bunch of stuff. And always thought it was the most rewarding because it's more hands-on, that you put these boxes together knowing that it's going to go off to those kids.
Definitely. And do you think the people that apply for these positions, are they giving up a lot of their spare time, or like what are they really applying for?
They definitely would have to dedicate a lot of their time. Interact Club is something that you need to put a lot of time into in order for it to be successful. You also need to be able to have the skills to get people involved in Interact Club, because sometimes it would be just the officers to show up, and you can't accomplish very much with just the officers alone. Mm-hmm. You have to be able to get the word out there. Like we did a Ronald McDonald tab collection sale. You need to have, or collection, you need to have the skills in order to get it the word out, in order to collect everything, in order for this project to collect the tab collection to be successful.
Definitely. And where is this meeting taking place in again?
It's in Miss Somar's room, 233, right after school on Wednesday, May 23rd or 28th.
Are there any specific grade levels you're looking for to fill these positions?
We're interested in people who are freshmen and sophomores. What we've noticed is that officers that are seniors tend to be busy applying to colleges and applying for scholarships, and they also have more likely to have a job, and they're very senioritis, so they don't really have the time that it takes to dedicate for this club. Also, we noticed that when you're a junior, you're only going to be around for 1 year donating your time, and then you're going to be a senior, and then you're going to be busy. So we're looking for people who are freshmen and who are sophomores, so they'll be able to be in the club for a few years to get the hang of things and dedicate their time.
Yeah, senior year is definitely a tough year. And you've been in the club since you're a senior for 4 years, or?
I've been in it for a while.
For a while. And could you reflect back on your times you've spent in Interact Club?
Well, it's interesting because I haven't always been the president of Interact Club, and I've seen the different officers go in and out, and I've always watched and seen that, like, sometimes even the officers, like the presidents, wouldn't even show up to the meetings. So it's interesting because I would always say, like, oh, if I was the president of Interact Club, I would always make sure that I show up to the meetings, and I would make sure that I did this, that, and the other. And it's nice to actually have to be someone position of power, and able to, in order to have things done and have Interact Club done in such a way that I wanted it to. So that was always so nice.
Yeah, and were there certain presidencies that were better than others? Did you get more done depending on your president?
Yeah, it always depended on the president. I also noticed that when you had too many officer positions, things didn't really tend to get done, because people would show up and they would only want the officer position just so they could write it down on their application, and they wouldn't actually follow through with what their officer title entailed.
Yeah. Is there anything else you would like to add?
Please make it a point to try to join the meeting if you can. I'm interested in anyone who's interested in the position. We'll give everyone a chance. So
definitely. Well, thank you. Elizabeth Palisano here with Natalie Danko, and make sure you apply for those high positions in Interact Club. Now back to the Eagle's Eye.